French Connection, and we have Wilder, who's the CEO of Algogems, and Adrian, who's also right here. He is the CTO of French Connection. So yeah, guys, you can introduce yourself. Maybe Joe, you can start yourself, and then we'll move from there.
So I'm Joe. I'm in charge of kind of getting things rolling and moving in FCF. Our ecosystem is based around two main things: our revenue sharing token, which allows you to earn passive income from the rest of the ecosystem, and our payment gateway FCF Pay, which is a multi-chain, full-featured gateway, so it can take the place of a PayPal or a Stripe, or it could be integrated with a point-of-sale system. So you could integrate it with a supermarket, for example, and pay with your crypto at checkout. That's the short version. You know, I could go on for half an hour, but I'm not going.
Yes. Wilder, you want to go up next?
Yeah, I'm Wilder. I'm the CMO of Algogems, and Algogems is a NFT platform on Algorand. There are two parts to the project, similar to FCF. We have a token that is used for voting and allows revenue sharing with the people who are doing the curation on the platform. And we have the NFT marketplace, where we take the barriers to entry away from minting an NFT and let people get their creative start for free on the blockchain. Glad to be here.
All right, Joe, my first question is to you guys. So basically, if you can just tell us a little bit more about the NFT collection that you guys have going on, the little French fellas that I'm a fan of. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about them, why exactly you picked French fellas, and what stands behind the scenes.
Okay, so the French fellas are born initially from our CEO and founder John's obsession with his French bulldog Gotti. So that's the basis of it. In fact, FCF, at launch, the logo was a muscly French bulldog. So that's a callback to that. French Connection Finance, actually, the whole name comes from a sneaky reference to a smuggling ring. The French Connection, if you look it up on Wikipedia, it's very interesting. And the initial slogan we had was "smuggling money into your wallets," which is a kind of a cheeky way of speaking of passive income. Now, the French fellas, they link in with our casino, and poker club. By holding French fellas, you can earn a percentage of the rake generated from cash games in our poker club, which you can go and see at fcfcasino.com. It's live right now, which in turn was set up as a showcase of how our payment gateway can be integrated into businesses such as casinos and poker rooms and so on. So you can mint a French fella or lots of them. You can, if you get a female and a male, or a female and several males, you can breed them together for the second collection. You can create an account on FCF Poker with it's Web3 enabled, so you can link up your wallet, and then you'll get passive income from that. Everything that we do has passive income, basically. So, that's it. That's a rundown of the French fellas. French fellas, because it sounds like kind of a gangster thing, right?
It kind of does. So what are like the future plans for the NFT collection that you guys have? Are you planning to taking it a step further into further developing it, or is this it?
We'll have second generation. There's going to be the second generation. Once this first generation is sold out, then we'll launch the second generation, which is breeding the the males and the females together. and that will be a.
Is there any dates or any months that you can tell us, or years?
When it's sold out. So if everybody that's listening goes and mints a few, then it could happen very quickly.
Yes, let's do it, guys. All right. Yeah, for sure. Wilder, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about the NFT collections that you guys have and exactly how you're involved in the NFT, because I know for Algogems it's a little bit of a different story. So
Yeah, definitely. So, what Joe was talking about is a fun example of utility into an NFT. You're able to breed. You've gamified the experience. It is a term we use a fair bit, and I think those types of projects are a lot more interesting and is a direction that NFTs are moving, especially when tied to a project. I can speak for Algogems specifically. We are not in the mint stage of our current project, but we plan on having a NFT collection, actually without Little in the name, but that is actually the name of the creator. The collection is Littles, and similar to the Frenchies, we are trying to find a way to sort of inject some fun into the NFT experience outside of the artwork, and we're looking towards a something reflective in the royalties for the NFT. So someone can purchase an NFT and, for lack of a better term, get some rewards smuggled into their wallet.
Actually, I have a question for Wilder. I'm sure that many are familiar with it. It goes well in hand with kind of what you're talking about, utility NFTs, and I'm sure everyone's aware of the classical, I guess, NFT format in terms of like an image. What are some other formats and how NFTs can be used, for example, in like everyday lives? I've heard that they're used as certificates, and all of that. So, do you have any experience with those?
Right now, we are starting to work with projects that are using NFTs as forms of receipts or proof of warranties. It's right now very much on the user, and there's a lot of trust involved on I've purchased an NFT from this person and I trust that they are going to honor those services. So a trustless solution, we don't offer that yet on Algogems, but I know on the Elgrand chain itself, we're already starting to sell airline tickets, and that movement and the legitimacy of NFTs is on the rise. And as someone holds their first plane ticket, let's say as an NFT, and they have a wallet, it's a great gateway into the ecosystem itself.
that's cool.
No, I absolutely
So as a person,
agree. Well,
yeah. As a person who travels a lot, would you talk a little bit more about the plane tickets and how that works? It's something very, very interesting.
Yes, definitely. So this is there's a project, if you wanted to check it out, you can specifically look for Travel X on Elgrand, and it's partnered with South American Airlines to offer multiple routes with NFT tickets in your wallet as proof. I think a lot of people might be familiar with having a QR code in your phone wallet and how much that simplified the process where you don't need to be carrying around a ticket. This kind of takes it one step further and gives you a authenticatable way on your wallet to show you have the ticket. And the next steps for this actually are trying to find a way for that to decrease the burden for identification checks if your wallet is tied to your ID.
Everything's going digital now. Actually, Joe, a question to you from my side. Given that looks like NFTs are a great tool in kind of payment systems now, any ideas of how maybe you can integrate NFTs into, like you mentioned, FCF Pay?
Well, one thing that we're looking at a lot, and we've got a great deal of interest about, is using our gateway for NFT marketplaces such as Algogems. So, crypto in general tends to get a little bit tribal and segmented. Like I believe in this blockchain and so on, whereas FCF Pay is designed to cater for everybody, and that's what we want to bring to the NFT marketplace sector, which is you want to buy that NFT, and it's on Algorand, but you only have USDT BEP20 or you've got Matic in your wallet, you should be able to buy it. Right? One of the first rules of business is make it easy for your customers to pay. You don't want to make it so that you can only get that if you go through these very specific things. Right? All of us that are in crypto know how annoying it is, even if it's only a minute. Right? The cooldown period on the on the decision to buy something is very short. You say, I'm going to buy that. It's going to take me 40 seconds. Forget it. Right? So what we can do, we can integrate FCF Pay into NFT platforms and make it so you can pay with anything, no matter what network it's on. Obviously, you would have to provide the appropriate wallet on the appropriate network in order to receive the NFT, but the payment should be agnostic. It should be any. Right, so that's one thing we're working on. We're actually working on quite a few things in terms of NFTs, but I cannot speak about them, and I have to bite my tongue.
I guess we'll have to leave it for future AMA sessions.
Yes. Yeah, no, including things which are very relevant to this conversation, in fact. And I agree with Wilder. This is absolutely the way that NFTs are going. This is what they're for, really, is proof of ownership. I can envision in not too far in the future that you'll be able to buy your car, and rather than going down to the town hall and filling in some papers and so on to transfer it from one person to another, you transfer the NFT and it's done. If you've got the NFT, you've got the car. It should be that simple.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I remember spending around 12 hours in the dealership to buy my first car, and it was hectic.
But if, like Wilder was saying, if we were all to have a wallet that is tied to our ID, which would depend on governments to get this done, so unfortunately, but it would take a while. But if we have a crypto wallet tied to our ID, it would open up a whole world of possibilities. We would, like, half of the civil servants in any given country would have no function anymore, from moving all these papers around and so on. But that's good. I don't agree with this concept of we need to make sure that we've got millions of people doing useless jobs. I think humanity could do more useful things.
Yes, that's for sure. That's for sure. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about FCF Pay, since we're already going that direction. Do you have anything like by the numbers that you can tell us in terms of how many businesses or how many platforms are already working with FCF Pay? Because I know it's out there. People know a lot more about it than they used to. So do you have any numbers that you can hold up to us and be like, yeah?
The numbers are somewhat problematic due to the fact that what we can't do, we've discovered recently, what we can't do is tell people exactly which companies are using our gateway, because the competition is watching us quite closely. We announced recently a deal with a payment service provider in Singapore. They're integrating FCF Pay with 8,000 point of sales terminals across the country. Everything from ice cream vans, little ice cream shops, to Starbucks. We should have FCF Pay running before too long. And they were inundated with messages from our competition. We didn't know they were watching us so closely. So they complained to us. They're like, I wish we hadn't done that announcement, because they just won't leave us alone now. That's one payment service provider. We're working with multiple payment service providers. They're not all live at the moment, so we're talking about dozens that are live and processing payments at the moment. However, we're talking about many thousands that are in the integration process, and many thousands more that should be online within a month and a half or so, once the white label solution is finished. So there'll be lots of payment gateways out there with different names that will actually be FCF Pay.
Oh, sounds interesting. So there's a lot of things that are out there on the surface, but I'm sure that you can't speak about them yet.
There's so many things I can't speak about.
Yes, but, I know. Yeah.
But even what we can speak about is already pretty cool.
Yes, I have to agree with that. Yep, that's true. Well, there kind of the next question is up to you, is for you. So we already talked about that FCF Pay and basically the platform in general is very unique. There is competition for them, but it's not a lot out there. And I can say the same thing for Algogems. So basically, you can kind of if you can kind of highlight for us, like what makes Algogems a different platform from everything else that we have out there, and why someone should kind of choose you guys.
Yeah, I'd love to take that question. I would say with every passing day, the NFT marketplace scene gets a little bit more competitive. So I think French Connection is definitely in a more unique lane currently. But I want to get into what kind of differentiates Algogems in the NFT marketplace space. So first of all, we use a DAO for content moderation and curation. So it's not a centralized process, and the team itself is not picking favorites. It's done by the community, and that is the pathway to recurring revenue for token holders. They provide a service for us, keeping the platform fresh and exciting, and keeping fraudulent creators off of it, and allowing us to scale for verification. So I would say, first of all, it's a great place if you want to get verified quickly and you want to have a process you can trust in and not worry about one individual person's taste, sort of the audience of who you get to see. And second of all, for people who are chain agnostic and haven't taken that step into creating an NFT, Algogems offers a way to make an NFT for completely free without having any cryptocurrency in your wallet, without ever using a centralized exchange. You just got to download an app, have a wallet on your phone that works on Elgrand, and you can start selling. We had a creator last month start on Elgrand, never using blockchain before, and they've already made over 5,000 Elgo in sales.
Oh, those are
Nice.
Yeah,
big numbers.
definitely. From what I'm hearing, it's a lot of great stuff. Both projects are working on in terms of kind of going towards mass adoption of crypto, of blockchain, of NFTs, as people understand that it's secure. You can use it for many different applications, from NFT plane tickets, from what we've heard from Wilder, to kind of using, having cross-chain payments, because I know it is a big kind of thing in crypto right now, where everyone's kind of trying to buy stuff. Looks like there is room for partnerships, kind of working together in terms of improving all of these services, and then obviously presenting it to the public and being like, hey guys, I know we've heard about NFTs, but we're also doing cross-chain payments for them, and vice versa. What do you think?
So, we just announced yesterday. I think yesterday we announced that we partnered with Atom Metaverse to be their payment supplier. So all payments in the Atom Metaverse will go through FCF Pay. Part of that was listing their token, obviously, on our system. As of yet, we haven't actually gone live with any NFT marketplaces. So maybe that could be the next announcement. We could have the Algogem token on FCF Pay, FCF Pay payments on there. We'll have to see, but it can all work.
Yeah, I will leave it at we are very interested in finding a partner to offer the services that French Connection offers, and we have a good relationship. So I think you can expect some exciting news for a future AMA. I will say, and I wanted to go back to an earlier topic that Joe was touching on, but governments essentially issuing a wallet or knowing that someone's address is tied to an ID. I think that's coming faster than we may expect, and I can say for certain, Nigeria will have an official government wallet hosted on Elgrand within the next 2 to 3 months.
Oh, that's fantastic. We've been speaking to a Nigerian company that does a lot of micropayments, in order to integrate with them. But they had, I think it was Nigeria. Crypto payments are currently illegal. But if the government's moving in that direction, it's probably that they want to add some sort of KYC to the crypto ecosystem before they allow it, which would be great. Which would mean I can get back with that company, because I was excited about that project, because it would mean people paying. Like, Africa is a huge market for crypto payments, especially due to the fact that people are not banked. They don't have banks, and it's inconvenient. I hate banks myself. It's inconvenient going to a bank. I hate having to deal with those people. I just want to pay for my stuff directly with the person I'm paying. So they do like micropayments, digital micropayments for buses and stuff like this. It's super cool. So that's great news. I hope that goes ahead quickly. I'm going to take a note of that.
Actually, if I can, just a thought that I've had while you were talking about having the government issued wallets. I think a big question in crypto in general in the sphere is about security, and how do we know that like a certain wallet isn't being used for like some other activity? What do you think about in terms of the KYC process? Would that mean that less people would be willing to use it? For example, if they need to submit some kind of document proving their identity. So essentially, it kind of turns into a bank when you start going through the KYC process, because someone has to check it, someone has to make the decision. Like, what do you think about that?
So, if I understood the question correctly, will people use crypto less if there's KYC on crypto? Well, first, there's not going to be KYC on all of crypto. It's impossible. It's already wild. It's out there, and it can't be stopped at this stage. So, not all of crypto will involve KYC. Some of it will, and probably should, for things like this. We want it, actually. We've been discussing the fact that we want it to happen because we want to buy plane tickets and transfer ownership of cars and houses and businesses and so on in a second. So that's fine. The rest of crypto is basically what we're going to end up with the crypto, the blockchain economy is exactly what we have now. We have stuff that goes through banks and cards, and we have cash. So it's incredibly hypocritical of those people that print money, supposed money these days, to say that the untraceability of crypto means it's going to be used by criminals and so on, while the world is full of criminals driving around with suitcases full of cash. Then stop printing the cash. It's
That is a point.
Now, I live in Spain, and here the politicians driving over the border to Andorra with cars full of cash is famous. So yeah, that's what we're going to end up with. We're going to end up with the digital cash, and we're going to end up with digital money, which is traceable and tied to a person. And then each one of us, under our own responsibility, which is the way things should happen, will decide how much those things are declared and how much are not. I've got in trouble with Inland Revenue, the IRS of Spain, in the past for declaring my cash income. I was outside of the expected algorithms. My thing was flagged 3 years in a row. And when I went in to actually speak to someone and go through it thing by thing, they were like, "How was this paid? In cash?" And they're like, "Oh, and this in cash." That's why we're calling you in, because you're outside of the algorithm. Because most people don't declare their cash. You know what I mean? And the same thing will happen with crypto later. So I'm just going on and on. Like I said earlier, sorry, Laura. But we need to. We have free will, and we should be allowed to make decisions about how we do things. So yeah, that's my view on it. Sorry, Wilder.
I guess it goes well with the idea of the DAO that Wilder was talking about, where the community decides for itself kind of what's okay for them and what's not. Actually, Wilder, I have a question for you regarding NFTs and all of that kind of digitalization process. How far do you think it can go? Like, will there be a point where absolutely everything can be an NFT, like an essay, for example, that we submit to our university?
So I think there's a phrase that I've heard from Chris Swenner at Reach, which is it better on blockchain? And I think maybe right now looking at it, I don't know if I'd want my high school essay for everybody to see on a blockchain. But I think as blockchain evolves and it changes, I could see there being an educational chain where your school records are kept on a private chain. But the way that we look at blockchain right now, in my opinion, where it's decentralized and everyone's hidden, was more of an early stage of blockchain. And I think, and from the NFT side, our artists see a lot of value from KYCing themselves by their own accord, to show them that they're a real person, showing the creation process and developing a relationship with their community. So I see KYC becoming a much bigger part of crypto. And like Joe was saying, it's something that we want, and it doesn't have to be anything, but having the option is going to enable so much more and so much more adoption. Where I think the line will be drawn with NFTs or what can be uploaded for content, I think there's going to be a time that we reach where there's things that potentially we don't want uploaded or we don't want permanently hosted on a chain, and it's too hard for me to predict, but I can see there being it's going to be difficult to control potentially or to understand what an NFT can be, because it's kind of so open, if you will. I definitely think about that a lot.
Well, it's interesting to see where it all comes to. Just in a couple years from now, I think it seems as if everything can be an NFT, and everyone's so excited for all of this. So I think following our conversation, it's safe to say that crypto and blockchain is kind of the future for payments. For NFTs, for all of that. I think that a lot of stuff will be going on in the future, following kind of what the market has seen now. I think a lot of people have started to think about the validity of all of this, kind of and people have started to think how crypto can be used in our everyday lives, with like security and all of that. So it's definitely going to be a shift.
I can nearly guarantee it. I've spoken to people in in politicians and people that are involved in creating these central bank digital currencies. It's coming. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. It's happening, and stuff like this, like integrating NFTs into administrative stuff in the town hall. It's coming, and it's going to be cool.
Yeah. So as we're beginning to kind of close up, I just want to hear from you guys, kind of like the final thoughts and maybe some words of wisdom to your audience. Maybe something that someone should be on the lookout or think about during the day. Hey, happy Friday! So.
I've spoken way too much already. Happy Friday to everybody, and have a great weekend. I encourage everybody to come and visit, to join both of our Telegram groups, follow both Algogems and FCF on Twitter, etc. We're always happy in our community to answer questions, so feel free to come in and have a chat.
Wilder.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in and joining us. Same Algogems community, definitely go check out French Connection and the NFT collection they're working on, and expect to hear more from us in the future. I think this is a fun project to look at. I think there's a lot of possibilities between us. And if I were something to think about for the weekend would be, what do you think is better on blockchain as far as NFTs? I've seen a lot of unique ideas, whether it's raffles or donations to charities for utilizing NFTs. And I think a lot of an NFT comes down to the idea behind it. And if you have a good idea, reach out, because there's lots of people who you can partner with to make your ideas happen.
For sure. Thank you guys. Thank you for your time. I think it was really interesting. I feel like both audiences learned a lot about something different, because this is what it's all about. Sometimes you might think that two projects are really too different to kind of share similarities, but here we are finding them, and It's out there. So thank you guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the AMA session, and have a good one. Happy Friday.
Thank you. Bye,
Guys.
everyone.
Thank you both.